Welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
And I'm back from being sick. I'm back,
yes,
baby.
we are recording remotely. Kind of a bummer, the first episode of the year.
Yeah.
We're recording remotely, but we're being extra safe because no one wants the vid. No one wants it.
No.
I feel like each strain is worse than the last.
Oh,
and it's just
this
like...
one was bullshit.
I'm not trying to go into 2024. I got enough going on without piling on top COVID.
No, I've only got a few more weeks, apparently, for Pluto to be fucking with my sign, fucking me hard for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then it lets me go. So I'm just trying to make it.
Smooth sailing.
Release.
It's going to be all gravy from here. I hope. That is my hope and prayer for you. For us all, honestly.
I'll tell you what, I have been like in and out of lucidity for like 10 days, I swear. But I took Paxlovid, and when I tell you, Keegan, you've taken it, right?
I have not taken it because the last time I had COVID, Anthony had COVID at the same time. He took it, and I swear to God, he complained more about the side effects from the Paxlovid than he did from the COVID itself. And so I was like, I'm not taking that. I'll just muscle through it. Like, I was like, I'm not going to do it.
Believable. Because honestly, I will tell you, here's the thing. If it wasn't for the long-term COVID effect or the long COVID,
prevention.
reduction.
Yeah.
Prevention.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have taken it either. I'll tell you what, I was having weird dreams. It gave me restless leg syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So literally
Annoying.
I could not sit still. Like I couldn't sleep. I was up to like 5:30 for like 2 nights in a row, just tossing and turning and moving my legs. And I couldn't, and I just couldn't get comfortable. It was absolutely awful. However, during that time, I watched plenty films and TV shows. So I have a lot to share.
You texted me about Lady Chatterley's Lover, and I believe that you have a correction to issue to our audience because I believe I said it was mid, and you have other thoughts.
I think that you need to revisit it. Here's what I'll say. I think that your expectations were like, oh, this is going to be fucking spicy. Yep. And so because people were like, holy shit, this movie is fucking spicy. So you went into it with like this really high expectation where I was like, ugh, I guess I'll watch it. I'm sick, whatever. What else am I doing? Christina said it's mid. So I was like, I didn't give it too much. Right. Girl, when I had to pause it 3 times during one single scene.
For what? What were you pausing it to do, Cassie?
Text you guys to be like, Christina, filthy mouth Mills. I shook. He grabs her hair. She said, I do not want to be a lady with you. And he grabs her hair. Mm-hmm. Girl, I thought I was going to roll out of bed. I said, wait. And then I paused it to text you, like, your filthy mouth. And I said, wait a second. So I played it again. And he grabs her around the throat. I was like, well, pause again. Got to text you guys. How fucking ever dare. I took a picture of it. How dare you?
I think I was
so
spoiled.
hot.
I think for me, the benchmark has now been set, at least in my mind, at Bridgerton season 2. And if it's not that, I'm like, mid.
I will tell you, here's the thing. Here's the difference, because you're talking Bridgerton, which is a series of multiple episodes in which they have that time to really play into that heat.
Yeah.
Where you don't have that time in a movie.
That's true.
So the heat that it gives you is less of the will they, won't they, right? Because you kind of know that they will, right? That doesn't have that kind of like, ooh, tension. But it's hot when it's hot.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm interested. I'm going to watch it. I'll be the tiebreaker here. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Although I have a feeling
here
that my standards are lower. I don't know. I think my standards for romance is higher because like I roll my eyes a lot through most romance, but I think my standards for spiciness might be lower. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, that feels good enough. for a Netflix movie, you know. Like,
and it's a period piece too, which I know Keegan, you and I both enjoy. So yeah, definitely tie break it. But also listeners, if there's some spicy movies out there that we should be watching on Netflix, let's do this. Yeah,
Netflix gets weird, man. Netflix gets weird. I didn't watch that. Like, what was that? 364 days or whatever that was.
I did.
Okay, thoughts?
I totally did. It tries too hard. It's fine.
That's the vibe I got.
Really wants. I mean, the chemistry between the two of them is good. The sex scenes are good, but it's trying so hard to be
50 Shades.
Something. It is. It's trying to be 50 Shades. It's fine. But I'm not like, oh, will I watch it again? Well, have I thought about it since I watched it? Not really. Did I watch all of them, though? Yes, I did.
Interesting.
Yes, I did. You know what else I watched is all the After movies. And those were actually pretty good. I will tell you that oh, my God. Sorry, my cat is now scratching on the fucking door. Hold on 1 second. I'll come back and tell you about After.
After? I don't think I've heard of...
I've heard of that series. That series doesn't look good to me. But what do I know? Again,
I don't think it's even shown up on my Netflix.
I think it's like YA. Cassie can correct us here. Cassie, is After like a YA?
Yes. No.
Yeah. No.
No, it's
not. It gives
not.
me YA vibes. Is it not?
It has. Here's why. Because the characters are... take place like college. It's like first year at college kind of situation, right?
Okay.
Like it's really so it's that age group, but it's written in it's a spicy romance.
Okay, so it is like an adult.
Yes,
not like an adult XXX, just like an adult
X.
Okay.
It's an adult X.
Okay.
Maybe X and a half.
All right. X and a half. Great. I love this system we've got going on.
Yeah. It's not quite triple X, but it is spicy, and the books are pretty spicy, and they are for adults. It's an 18+ genre for sure. It's a TVMA, as it were. But and it's good. They do a good job of kind of building the tension. The latest one is out. It's fine as well. Again, it's kind of all that falling post 50 Shades type situation. He's like the bad boy, right? It's got a lot of that kind of.
But where do we find those? Like in the olden days, you used to go to like Showtime After Dark or whatever,
right.
Cinemax.
Well, those were
that shit was just straight porn. Like that was porn.
Yeah.
You were watching porn with the storyline. Yes, I remember because I used to watch those at my friend's house when we were way too young. But like we knew they had it, and so when their parents went to bed, it was like tiptoe into the living room, and the shit that I saw at an age when I was way too young,
inappropriate.
It was. Okay, I'm going to be pretty graphic, not safe for work. If you're driving with your children, which some people have written to us and said that they do listen with their kids in the car. So maybe fast forward through this and come back and listen when you're alone or put your headphones on. But I was way too young for this. And I was at my friend's house and we put on one of those. And it was this woman who was trying to like get revenge for her husband's murder and somehow got access to, I guess her husband's murderer was in jail and managed to get access to the jail and was in the jail cell and seduced this guy. And the way that
it can't be that hard to seduce somebody in jail.
No. But Cassie, the way she chose to kill him. So she killed him via poison. And you want to know how she did it? She put the poison on her areolas and he sucked her.
How does that not kill her?
Don't ask too many questions, Cassie.
Wait,
but that
how does
stuck
that
with
not
me
kill her?
Forever because I was just like, this is the most, even at that young age, I was like, this is the most out of the box banana shit I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
But you're still thinking about it.
It's
30 years
you're
later.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Can the after movies do that? Can the after movies do that for me? Probably not.
And see, and that's
You formed a hardcore memory,
It's sense
an
memory.
assault on your brain.
Completely. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I know what that woman looked like. I know what her boobs looked like to this day. Can't tell you what the man looked like. Can't tell you at all.
No.
Nope.
Not at all.
Oh my
That's
God.
hilarious.
But that's what I'm looking for. There's got to be an app or a channel that's all like fucking like Skinamax movies.
You
we
can
have
still
the
find
internet.
those movies.
Yeah.
You can still find the After Dark movies. And like, I know what you're talking about because it is different. Like, you don't necessarily want just porn.
No.
You want something porn adjacent.
Yeah.
which was Skinamax. And it wasn't for me. I don't like that. Like, I either want that real sick tension, that like, oh God, like that makes your whole body bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that to me is what happened, I think, a little bit more. And like you're saying, in Bridgerton, I thought that was great.
Me too.
I will tell you, I did watch another show that I can't tell you how I feel about it. It was sexy, but I can't stop thinking about it.
Okay.
And I can't quite grasp what my emotions are coming out of it.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
And it's called Tell Me Lies. And it's like a 10 on Hulu.
I watched it.
You did?
There's only one season, right?
Yes.
Yes, I
And
watched that.
it is sexy. Like it's kind of hot.
I enjoyed
But it also is like,
It had some holes for me where I was just like, this. There were things about it where I was just like, this isn't great. But did I watch the whole first season? And was I upset that they didn't have a season 2? Yes, I was.
oh, they're going to, I think. I
Are
think
they?
that's still
Because
up in the
that
air.
was years
think
ago that one came out.
Oh, I thought it just came out last year.
I don't think so. I think I watched it a while ago. But I do, and I keep looking because I'm like, do I want to watch the second season? Yes, I do. Even though the first season was like,
because they do leave it a bit hanging. Well, here's the crux of it all. There isn't a second book. There's only one book.
I see.
So,
But they left it on a cliffhanger.
and they do. They kind of leave you hanging a bit of like, how did this end up this way?
Yeah.
But it's hard because I feel like it's like, I don't know whether I like these characters. I don't know whether I hate all of the characters or just some of the characters, or if I don't know. It really fucks with your emotions, but it is hot. It is hot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got something new because I just finished. Well, because we were in our holiday hole, I finished The Crown, which I didn't like the second half of the season that much.
I stopped. I haven't gotten into that yet. I stopped after the episode after Diana died. And then I was just like, I kind of don't care what happens now.
Yeah. There's one episode that I thought was pretty good. But yeah, overall I was just kind of like, meh. But Gilded Age season 2, loved. Loved.
All right, I have to watch it. I started it, and I actually almost started it the other day, and I was like, again, for the third time. I've literally watched the first episode no less than 2.5 times.
It's very, if you didn't like Downton Abbey, I don't think you'll like. Yeah,
I love Downton Abbey.
It just takes
loved it.
It takes a minute to get into, because at first I was like, really didn't care about Cynthia Nixon's character. I was like, what is this? It's very weird. But then by this season, she made me cry. Tears. Okay.
I just felt like acting was not good.
PMSing.
Oh,
but
okay. To be fair.
You want to know what I've been doing with my holiday break? What I've been watching over my holiday break? All of the Friday the 13th movies. I have seen the first 5 Friday the 13th movies.
Merry fucking Christmas. Jesus.
I love this for you. Actually,
point,
Keegan, I love this for you.
You know,
so much.
Listen, I love it for me too. These movies are so formulaic. They are not good. But there's something weirdly comforting about that. Like, you know, someone's going to die by getting stabbed from underneath a bed. That's going to happen.
Obviously.
There's going to be boobs within the first 15 minutes. That's gonna
If there's
happen.
not, is it even a Friday the
No.
Friday the 13th movie?
What I didn't realize was that Jason, I had to keep watching because I watched the first one, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched the second one. And in the second movie, Jason doesn't have a mask. He just has like a burlap sack tied around his head.
Oh, that's right.
So I was like,
oh my God.
I have to keep watching these movies because like I need to know when the mask is introduced. It's not introduced till halfway through the third movie. And then I was just by that point I saw that Corey Feldman and Crispin Glover are in the fourth movie. So I was like, all right, here we go.
You got to go into the fourth if that's the case. Which one's the one where the masks like take over their bodies? It's not.
Wait, that is a Halloween. That's Halloween 3 Trick or Treat.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
Well done. Girl, that movie scarred me for life. I swear to you. I was like, well, never again am I putting a fucking mask on.
Yep.
Oh,
like,
man.
Forget it. And I feel like it was like Shamrock something or other was the name of the...
Yep.
Like, I haven't watched that movie since I was a kid, and I know that.
Yep.
So...
No, it's
I have a good
weird what
idea.
I
stays in
encourage
your
you
head.
to rewatch because it's very silly. Like upon watching as an adult, it's silly.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 ideas for Fuck, Marry, Kill this week then.
All right.
Okay.
I think we Fuck, Marry, Kill leading men from romance movies or books. Or, I was going to say we Fuck, Marry, Kill like Freddy, Jason, and...
Oh my God, what a way to
Mike
bring in the
Myers.
new year.
I know. That feels like maybe we should hold that out for Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've
I'm surprised
done
we
it.
haven't done that at Halloween before.
We might have actually now that I say it.
But maybe not. Actually, I don't think that we have. The thing with romance. All right. I mean,
we got the Bridgerton guys. We got
yeah.
That's true. We opened
Yeah.
a
You got a
wide
lot.
array. 'Cause
You
got
know
a
what?
big. We got
Okay.
that book we read. We all read. Wait, Keegan.
I haven't finished it. Listen,
No,
I can't.
What?
I'm not. Look, I'm not in the mental headspace to be consuming.
Honey, it will be there when you're ready.
That's right.
When I am ready to finish it. I will say, because we haven't covered this with the listeners, because episodes back, Cassie and Christina both. This book has been brought. At this point, we should be asking for a commish from
Honestly,
Anna
Anna.
Huang.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be asking for a commission because Cassie brought it up because she was the first person to read it, and so then Christina read it and was, endorsed. Number 2.
Highly.
And
Double
so
endorsed.
I got it because I have Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, let's see what this is about. I can say it is one of the better romance, because you know how I feel about like romance erotica books.
Yes.
Is like I end up rolling my eyes through all of it, and yes, there are tropey things in this book. There have to be, because that's just part of the genre. But it is actually pretty well written as far as like having a real structure to the book.
Yeah.
The characters I feel like are pretty well written, pretty well rounded. I know who they are. I know what they do. I know what their family lives are like. That's something
Somewhat
you can't always
believable,
say.
too.
Yeah, they're believable. And then the sex scenes.
Yikes.
They're if you're looking for spice, if you watched Lady Chatterley's Lover and you're like, not enough, you can pick up this book. It
I was
is
like,
called
should
Twisted.
I reread this book because it was hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Twisted Hate.
First of all, we haven't even mentioned the name of the book.
Twisted
which
Hate.
we should do.
Yeah, Twisted Hate.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Twisted
and
Hate.
so it is a enemies to lovers book. I did read half of it in like a day, and then I didn't pick it back up because my life has just been spinning out of control, and so I haven't had the opportunity. But when I am ready,
Oh, it's
there for you.
I trust it to be there for me when I need it. Okay, that's my ringing endorsement.
There we go.
It's a hottie. Listen, I think it'd be fun. Romance leads.
All
Okay.
right, and it can be books or movies.
Books or movies. Your choice.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to choose Darcy because I always do. And, I feel like I'm going to throw everyone for a loop, and I'm going to do, God, is it Jane Eyre? with Michael Fassbender
Rochester?
in it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do Rochester.
Oof.
Oh, I
A walking
haven't
red
seen
flag, that
movie
man. All right.
Bad decisions, 2024.
Bad decisions. Okay, look, this is a bit of a curveball because I would usually pick a book because, you know, the Bronte sisters were like my number ones. I preferred reading Bronte to Austen even growing up, but I also loved all the Jane Austen books and everything like that. But I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball, and I'm going to go with Jack Dawson from Titanic.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Jack Dawson. Leo DiCaprio, floppy haircut.
All right. I
also kind of broke, so you know.
Very, yeah. Rochester's rich at least.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
he also like if you get a little too head up, he's gonna lock you in the attic.
Yeah. So pick your poison. Jack Dawson would never.
Nice.
Jack Dawson would never lock you in an attic. I'll say that.
he doesn't have an attic. He can't afford an attic.
Fair.
All right, Cass.
All right, I'm gonna go for a classic My Worst Date. I'm gonna do the Duke of Hastings, Rege-Jean page.
Ooh, from the first Bridgerton. Okay.
From the first Bridgerton.
All right. Ooh, well.
Yeah,
He's got daddy issues.
he does.
I mean, they're all problematic.
Yeah, they got problems.
he will yeet himself off of you.
You know what? I have to say, I think Jack Dawson is the least problematic of these three. I'm not gonna lie. He's
Really?
poor. He's poor, but he treated Rose nice. I don't have any issues.
That's true.
He's a
He is
nice
the nicest.
person.
In the beginning, but I mean, long term,
He died for her.
Hastings-
And
She pushed him off.
unnecessarily. She's
Thank
like,
you.
Unnecessarily.
No, thank
They both
you.
went through too much
She killed
unnecessarily. She didn't need to be doing all that either. You knew him for 3 days, girl.
yeah.
sir. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
anyway, but you know the dick had to be good then, because 3 days.
That dick was so.
She didn't
fucking
get on
good.
the
She was
lifeboat.
Dickmatized.
Yeah.
She's
No.
like, not with this dick. I don't know. Shit.
I'm going down with the dick.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Okay, so but man, is the Duke of Hastings so fine?
God.
He's so fine.
God damn.
It's hard.
I'm gonna marry
Listen,
him.
daddy issues be damned.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
marry him. I'm gonna marry him. You know, he has the ability for growth as displayed throughout
Hey,
the series.
You don't want kids. So it's a match made
I'm
in heaven.
fine. Oh yeah, we're
you don't
good.
have
We're gonna
any issues at all.
child-free,
Perfect.
Richie rich lifestyle in the English countryside. I fucking love it. I dig it.
Yeah.
They have sex everywhere in that show, all throughout
yes.
that manor house, everywhere.
God.
I am going to fuck Jack Dawson. I gotta see what it's like. I gotta give, and like it's just, I don't know that I want that forever, but for a fling, great.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a great fling. You get to have sex in that old timey car. Great. He's got a skill. He can draw me like one of his French girls. I love that.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
Rochester, who did I love him whenever I was a problematic teen? Absolutely. As an adult,
But you've grown since then.
yeah, a number of issues. He's a very Michael Fassbender, hot, very hot,
So
brooding, weirdly attractive. Of course, we all know that. But I feel like he has a lot of trauma he needs to work through. He needs some therapy.
He can work it out on me.
I'm sure. Yeah. And I'm sure it would be good.
Yeah.
But then you got to get the fuck out. You got to get the fuck out because I don't trust him.
Otherwise,
not
you'll
to be
get locked
abusive.
in the attic.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's why I'm gonna fuck him because I think
Yep.
that
Same.
night would be good, and then I'll just like get on the horse in the morning and wind flying through my hair,
Yep.
just right off into the
It's
sunset.
misty. It's because you're
Yes.
riding on the moors
course.
for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm gonna do the same as you, Keegan. I'm gonna marry the Duke of Hastings.
Yeah. It's a good choice.
I'm completely fine. You can yeet wherever you need to.
Absolutely.
Good sir.
I am not
Yeet,
picky,
motherfucker.
really.
No,
Nah.
me either. We gonna have some fun. It's a nice house, and we
Yeah.
gonna fuck all over it. So
That's exactly
perfect.
right. I am doing the same thing. I am going to marry Duke of Hastings, and I am going to fuck. Because it's going to be a fuck.
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender, oh my God.
I do feel like Rochester, there is the possibility that he will cry after.
I
'Cause
feel
I
like
think
there's
he's
a possibility
dealing with
Jack
some-
will cry.
He's dealing with some deep shame, Rochester, I think. You know, he feels bad that his wife is locked up in the attic. Not bad enough to do anything about it.
correct.
But I do think he feels bad about that. So
You're like, he feels guilt. So that's.
there's some guilt there. He's not a complete monster. So okay, wow. Nice one. We do have a new patron. So I want to give
yes.
a big worsty welcome shout out to Danielle Lund. Thank you for joining us on Patreon. Like we said at the beginning of this episode, or did we? Did we do that for the shorty? We are recording remotely this week.
We did.
Oh, yes, we did. Okay, so we are recording remotely this week. So Danielle, we will get your rewards to you out as soon as we are all back together again, so we can write you your handwritten love note from the three of us. But your rewards are coming. Thank you so much for joining us on Patreon. If you have any recommendations for movies you'd like us to watch, we just watched Quills, which what a nightmare film.
Honestly.
And then next, or this month, for the month of January, we will be watching City of Angels with Meg Ryan and Nicolas Cage. So you are definitely going to want to tune in for that one.
I gotta be honest. I don't know how. I'm so nervous because I remember bawling my eyes out.
I think it's going to make
watch
me
it.
cry, certainly. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for it. Look, I think a good cathartic winter cry might just be the ticket.
What you need.
Yep. Gotta
Just what
cleanse
the
it.
doctor ordered.
Yep. Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with stories?
That sounds good.
And we're back. All right, Christina, kick us off with stories.
Okay. First of all, I hope that this story I'm about to tell isn't true or is exaggerated. If not, it might be the most bananas thing I've ever read.
Oh, no.
So here we go. It's been a while since this happened, and my friends say this story is hilarious, so I thought I'd finally tell it. When I was 18 in summer break, I was hanging out with my friend, let's call her Jen, for dinner. She and I were talking about relationships when the topic of sex came up. Jen had asked me something about how many people I had slept with. Being truthful, I told her that I am still a virgin. She took this as her chance to budge questions about why and wanting all the details. And I just told her I'd never been in a relationship long enough and that time just never came. I mean, you're 18.
So they're 18.
I know.
Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
I was a virgin at
Act
18.
like you're like 40.
I was a virgin at 18. That is such a... Why would you press someone
So weird.
like that at that age? That's weird. It's not like you're
It is
in your
weird.
40s or whatever.
Right. After that, we continued talking about our relationships and experiences, and Jen asked me what I thought about the idea of starting a friends with benefits deal with her. We were already very open with each other, and I've known that she was a very sex-positive person for a while, so this wasn't a big shock. After I went quiet, trying to process what she had just asked, she asked me if I would like to talk about it more at her place. Being the horny 18-year-old boy that I was, the offer seemed like more than a good idea. When we get to her dorm room, we sat down and talked about what this would mean for us and how would we go about making a friends with benefits situation. After a long talk, one thing leads to another, and we end up making out on her bed. This actually so far is very
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you get
Somewhat
out,
responsible for 18-year-olds. Yeah.
not an issue. So, we get to taking off our clothes. I remind her I've never done this before and don't know what I'm doing. Jen reassures me, saying she can do most of the work this time. All she needs me to do is do as she says and to let her know if I'm ever not okay with something.
Okay.
This is great.
Okay.
Again, it sounds
So far, so good.
fine.
After I put the condom on, she lays me back on the bed and gets on top and asks if I'm ready. I agree, and things start slow but quickly begin to speed up. Everything was okay for a while until she asked me if I'm okay and if I want to try something to help her out. I tell her I'm doing good and I can do whatever to help her. As she is getting really into it, she asked me if I could spank her. I was already kind of nervous that I would finish before her, so I agreed. I began to nervously spank her lightly.
Oh,
That's a fresh move as
he's brand
a
new.
virgin.
Yeah, he's brand new at this. I feel like
Maybe
that's
you
an
could wait till the
intermediate.
second time?
It's an intermediate move for a beginner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to let bro level up a few levels. That's
Yeah. It's early.
it's early. She tells me to do it harder. I do it a little bit more, but again, still sort of gentle. She tells me she wants it way harder. So
You
I
got
gain
the wrong guy for this.
Yeah.
Why would you you knew what you were getting into? You got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I gained the courage to give her a good, solid spank, enough to leave a red handprint. As I go for the spank, I failed to time it right, and I go for it just as she moves up, making me miss and hit
Yep.
my balls.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
The spank had enough strength in it that when I hit them, I simultaneously pushed my waist upward, screamed, came, and vomited upwards, covering both of us in puke.
Oh.
Oh
no.
My God. Oh no.
Apparently, I blacked out after that because the
Yeah.
next thing I remember is waking up a minute later in the fetal position.
Oh
just-
my God. A fucking virgin. This is so mean.
This is so, I mean, at least he's like, can laugh about it now. I mean,
Imagine
Oh
this
my
being
God.
your first time, though. Like, this is
Yeah.
your first time?
Wow.
yeah.
Talk about
This
your,
is-
like, memories getting, like, crossed.
Yeah.
Your love map is all
Rewired.
fucked up.
Yeah. He literally hit himself as hard as he could in the balls.
What
Oh
if he
my
can
God.
never come again?
Keegan has poison nipples.
Yeah, exactly.
Keegan has
Like,
poison nipples, but
what
this
if
guy's got
what if
fucking
he can't
ball
ever
slaps.
come again? Like
Unless he has his balls slapped.
or he's throwing up. That's just one or the other.
Oh no. Oh no.
Or both.
So
What if he
we-
needs all three to happen simultaneously or it doesn't work?
I'm sure there's a place he can find to take care of that, man. So I woke up later in the fetal position with my hands still holding my sore balls and still covered in puke. I looked at the end of the bed where Jen was sitting, covered in puke, staring at me in silence with the most confused yet angry stare I've ever seen someone make.
Listen,
After
you
angry-
can't be angry. Like, obviously, he didn't do it on purpose. You can't be
clearly
angry
not.
when someone throws up on you. Like, you can be grossed out. You can be
Yeah.
inconvenienced. You can be annoyed. But you can't be angry because nobody, unless they
He
threw up
didn't
on you on
want
purpose,
to
but
do that.
nobody throws up on anyone on purpose, right?
As far as I know, Keegan, listeners
unless
prove us
that's-
wrong.
Unless that's your,
unless that's your kink.
Unless that's your kink.
Unless that's now his new kink.
it is someone's kink, I'm certain.
Sure.
Oh man. After what felt like an extremely long minute, I decided the best thing to do in this situation was to get up off the bed, put on my pants, grab my stuff, and walk home.
Oh,
That
sweetie.
is, to this day, the most humiliating night of my life.
She didn't let you use the shower?
Dude, I think he just bounced. I don't know if she was like, get the fuck out or whatever. He was just like,
That's
head out.
truly a walk of shame, covered in vomit,
Oof.
sore
Yeah.
balls. Oh my God.
Just like,
Wow.
oh my
Horrible.
God, he just erupted like a geyser.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh, Lord.
Dreadful.
Okay, I'll go next. So I, 26 male, haven't been very lucky with Tinder until last week. I super liked this girl, Kara, 21 female, fictional name. And to my surprise, we matched. She was responding to my messages, although she herself admitted that she was a bad texter and would often leave me on read, which was not a problem for me. Okay. So I finally, listen, some people are bad texters. However, because I've been there myself where I will read a text message and I'll be in the middle of something and then I'll like hours later be like, oh my gosh, I meant to respond to that person and didn't respond. However, I think
but not somebody important.
Right. Or if it is important, I was legitimately like, I was recording with you guys. I was doing something where I needed to give it my full attention, you know?
Yeah.
However, how do you feel about saying off the bat? Because part of me is like, okay, she's being honest that she's a bad texter. But part of me is also like, I feel like being a bad texter is a bad communicator is a choice that you're making.
That's exactly right.
That's true. And he says that works for him. So maybe that is fine. I know that wouldn't for me, you know, like communication is so vital to me that it's not even like you have to answer my texts right away.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I was going to say. I don't expect like an immediate response from anyone. Everybody is living their lives. I don't expect immediate responses from anybody. I just want to know that you're at least paying attention to it, or like you need to, like, I would even if you don't respond for hours, when you do respond, I would love like a thoughtful response. I would love a response, period.
Yeah.
You know, at some point. Okay. Anyway, so I finally had the balls to ask if she wanted to meet up. She agreed. Yay! Now, I wasn't going to slack on this opportunity. It was the first date I had in 5 years. I needed to work hard on it. First of all, I made a list of possible topics to talk about based on what I knew of her.
This is so fucking adorable.
Wow.
That's epitome. If they want to, they will.
If they want to, they will.
That's exactly right.
But also, this is someone who hasn't had a date in 5 years, so maybe he's green again. He's getting back out there. But like somebody who's leaving you on red is probably not worth this much.
Not worth all that
effort because you are doing so much more than they're doing already, even by thinking this way. So he made a list of possible topics to talk about. She seemed to be a very active feminist, so I read some Beauvoir to not be caught off guard if she asked my opinion on anything related.
Oh my God.
My heart is breaking.
Yes. She also happened to be pursuing an art degree. I found out there was an exhibit of this 70s postmodern artist and got 2 tickets. Again, I kind of read a bit about him so I could give my input if asked.
Oh my gosh.
And
this
finally, yes.
person is I'm falling in love, actually.
Sweet. And finally, she seemed to be very into holistic things like tarot, etc. So I found this coffee place that kind of fit into the theme that we could meet up at. I know. The perfect date was set. We would meet for coffee, talk a bit, and then head to the exhibit. If I got lucky, maybe a kiss at the end. I met her at the door and we went inside. The place was very nicely decorated, so we spent some time looking at all the little sculptures and art pieces on the walls. Then enters Dave, fictional name. Some of them are for sale if you're interested. I'm also doing a tarot reading today, says Dave. We should totally get a reading, Kara said. Sure, seems interesting. Big mistake in parentheticals.
Oh, no.
We went to a table nearby and the guy pulled the deck, if that's what it's called. The guy proceeds to do whatever and talking about her life choices and so on. He got personal. I could see the effect it had on her. She kept looking deeply at his eyes as he laid out what she could be struggling with emotionally. I felt kind of left out, to be honest. Time went by and they're still talking about life, relationships, etc. Now I'm really bothered by this, so I try to break it off by saying, so do you want to go to the exhibit? I think it'll close in an hour or so. She smiled, looked at Dave, and said, dude, you would totally love this exhibit. You should totally go with us.
Oh.
And there you have it. God. She invited tall, handsome Dave to the exhibit, and he agreed. They kept talking the whole way there. At the door, I pretended to take a phone call and left saying that there was an emergency. She said that it was a bummer, but didn't seem very sad about it. I went home and cried in the shower. I've never felt so useless in my entire life. This dude just snatched my date away, and all I could do was watch it. I didn't have very high expectations for how the date would end, but holy shit.
Oh,
dude, one thing I can say for sure is someday he's going to make somebody feel like a fucking queen.
He's not the problem. She's the problem.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not you.
For sure.
The amount of effort that he put in and thoughtfulness, he's just going to make an incredible partner to whoever gets to spend time with them. And
the right person.
I know. I just want to go give him a hug.
He went home and cried in the shower.
Oh my
baby.
God.
We've all been there.
Baby.
Shower cries are, there's
We've
something
all
else.
been there.
Yeah.
Shower cries don't count because are they tears or are they shower
Nobody
cries?
knows. Nobody knows. Except
No
for
one
the
knows.
deep guttural sobs. So that might be a telltale
like
sign.
It's that meme from Arrested Development where he's just like,
That's what I look like. That's what I look like when I'm shower crying. I'm
Yep.
not even fucking kidding.
No. Grabbing the shower bottle.
It's the best kind.
Yes.
It's the best kind. It's just, just just bring it all up. All right. So I will say that my story isn't that bad. However, it's just, we'll have something to talk about. And it's something that has come up quite a bit that I think is just behavior that we can discuss.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So this is from Reddit. It said, I had my worst date ever today. I, 30 female, met him, 33 male on Hinge. He walked in wearing sweats and talking to someone on his phone. He sat down, mumbled at me, then started flicking through the menu while messaging people on his phone.
Okay. Rude. I don't need to be
dismissive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then why am I even here?
Why am I here? Right, exactly. After we ordered food, he did finally have a conversation with me, but it was so boring. I asked, what does he do in his spare time? And he said, chilling.
Ugh.
I asked what he's watching on TV. He said, not much. I asked what he's got planned for the rest of the day. And he said, cleaning.
Why are we on a date?
He didn't.
I don't understand why this person even went. Look, I'm somebody who lately I haven't been wanting to go out much. I know that though. And I know when I am and am not good
Not going to
company.
put it on anybody else.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm not going to put that shit on somebody else. Just stay home. Clearly you're not in a mood where you want to, you're not in a social mood. Nobody is forcing you to go out. You don't have to date.
Yeah.
And
you shouldn't.
I want to normalize too. Like if something like that is happening, I think it's perfectly. I think too, as women, we're always err on the side of politeness, obviously, because it's safety.
Scary.
But if you're in a public place, like in a restaurant, I don't think you have to be even rude about it. You can be like, I just don't feel there's a connection, or the conversation's just a little too one-sided or whatever, and just be like,
yeah, we're not clicking here.
Hope you have a great day. I'm a head out.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Every time I tried to find a common interest for us to discuss, like music or bars, he said, yeah, it's good. He seemed to lack life experience as well. There was squid on the menu, and he asked what it tastes like. I ordered a latte, and that tasted like a cappuccino, and he asked what the difference was. Now, I will say, those are pretty...
I don't think that...
Specific. Yeah, that's...
I mean, I don't like it, but I've had squid before, but not everyone has. And I don't think that that's something that not everyone has had the opportunity to. I don't think that that's something that I would necessarily judge a person for. And I don't know. I've had lattes, I've had cappuccinos. I know they taste different, but could I tell you
the exact reason?
No.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not a barista for sure. I asked whether he was introverted or extroverted. He asked what those words meant.
Oh, okay.
So that's, it is just maybe a lack of general getting out.
Well, for me, this seems like maybe more the issue for me would be not necessarily that he doesn't know that. It feels like a lack of curiosity in general. He just has a lack of curiosity, which is more of a turnoff than not knowing the difference between a cappuccino and a latte.
Right.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. It doesn't, I think it has very little to do with those things. I think you get in your head that this is like the problem, but you're absolutely right. The deep down reason of the problem, it's a problem, is because of what you said. A just general lack of an apathy, which we all know we hate.
Turn off.
Yeah.
Eventually, I gave up having a conversation with him, and we sat there in silence as we finished our drinks. About after a half an hour, I said, well, we should probably call it a day. And we left. Like, he was very smiley, good looking guy, but there just wasn't much beyond that. Even dates I've had where there's no connection, I've at least been able to have a chat. I can't believe how boring this date was. I've recently been messed around by a fuckboy and thought to myself, is this all there is? So I thought this was an interesting.
Well, it's not all there is, because you got the guy from my date.
Right. Obvious.
Well,
that's right.
I know. Yeah. And then I will say that I had a couple dates like that in a row when I was single, and that's one of the reasons. And I think I talked about it on the podcast, was why I did phone calls with people ahead of time. Don't waste my fucking time. You know what I mean? If the conversation wasn't hitting, then let's not waste time, makeup, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because that, to me, I need to know if that connection, that communication, there's chemistry there. And that was a way that I could figure it out without having to traipse around fucking Los Angeles at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, you know, to just be
it's a really good
disappointed, you know?
No, that's a really good point. Like, kind of those lead up conversations. Yeah, you might be texting well. Hell, you might even have a good phone call. I almost suggest just doing like a Skype, you know, or a FaceTime or something, just to like also just see to, I don't know. I'm more of a visual person. So for me, like I know auditory is very important for you, but I almost like need to see, are you like visually, like, are you interested? Am I getting good vibes?
Yeah.
You know?
And there were a lot of people who were turned off by the suggestion of even a phone call. So listen, honey, if you're not even going to take the effort to hop on the phone with me before we meet, then you're probably not going to put effort in anywhere else that it matters. So then we're not compatible.
Exactly.
I think people have a lot of phone anxiety. I think people don't, like, they get anxious talking on the phone. I think we're so used to chatting via text or, you know, DMs or whatever, where we have all this time to think about what our responses are going to be like. But that's exactly why you want to get somebody on the phone, because if they can't manage that on the phone, they're not going to be able to manage it in person. Because someone can be a really great texter because they have all this time to craft a perfect response, but they're not, the communication, the conversation is bad face to face. And I get the phone anxiety. I understand. Our society is set up in a way that if you don't ever want to get on the phone with anyone, you never have to. You can order a pizza via text, which was not, or via app, which was not the way it was when we were kids, you know? Like,
that's right.
There's
I get serious phone anxiety as well. But to that turn, Keegan, are you like me, where like I would almost prefer to have a Skype? Like, that doesn't bother me as much.
I would rather be on the phone than have a Skype, because I would be so anxious about wanting to make sure I present well, because I feel like I don't look like myself on Skype. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have maybe like Skype or Zoom dysmorphia, like about maybe it's fallout, it's trauma from the pandemic, right? Where I'm just like, I had to see myself on, like, right now we're on Skype, and I'm like, I've had to see myself on this fucking computer for so long now that I would rather do it on the phone. I also get phone anxiety, but I feel like if it was somebody to Christina's point, if it was somebody I felt there was potential with, or that I liked enough, I would get over my phone anxiety to get on the phone with them. If it was a request of something that was important to them, like, I would do it. You know, I'd make the effort.
I feel like it's a good middle ground. I feel like you can learn a lot about somebody. You know, you're just texting back and forth. And to your point, Keegan, it's like they can craft their responses. It could be chat. It could be a chat bot these days.
You don't know.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
People text and talk very differently. Very differently.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So true. No, that's a really good point. That's honestly, that was kind of my thought about this date in general. It's not that it was like an awful date, the worst date in the world, but it was just like that kind of thing keeps happening where we keep seeing that like, oh, this guy just wouldn't talk, or like just short answers.
Well,
and
I
it's
think
like
that's
they're talking in text,
right.
You know?
Yeah, I think we talked about that a couple of episodes ago, where that is my fear, and I always worry about coming across like curmudgeonly or old lady like about like technology or whatever. But I guess and I don't mean to, I never mean to, but I think that my fear is like we are losing our ability to focus and communicate. And I think that that's everyone. I don't think it's specific to a certain generation. I think if you wire your brain for long enough to like only be paying attention to a 1 minute TikTok and then you can scroll if you get bored, or being on Tinder where you can just swipe until whatever, you know, I feel like we are wiring our brains to only be able to take in so much at a time. So of course people are getting bored in having conversations, and they're getting on their phones because they're bored in the middle of you talking, because they don't have the attention span to be able to like sit there and communicate with you.
Imagine having that low level of empathy though too, to like not even understand like how disrespectful that is, just to be like, okay, well, I'm bored with what you're saying.
Yeah,
so here I am over
really
here
feel
texting.
like we are going to need to start creating more phone-free spaces. And this makes me feel like an old person, but I'm just like, and that's why maybe the movies is kind of great, because it's just like people, you have to not be on your phone, or you shouldn't be.
Well, you shouldn't be.
You know? And like, but we should be creating spaces where it's just like, all right, when you're in this cafe, you're not allowed to have your phone, or like whatever it is, because I think we need to build that muscle back up for us as a society. Yeah. It's not just any one group. It's like all of us, especially with the pandemic being our only lifeline, being social media, our phones, our computers. It was our only way to access our friends and our loved ones. Like, I think our brains are fucked. Like, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that because I've been talking about this a lot this past year, I think I've subconsciously, just because of the COVID and having to be the way that we're living, the way that we have, I feel like this past year I have and not even like trying, but just have like stopped doing. I just don't care anymore.
Oh, it's awful. It's terrible.
Don't care.
Like if we're
I don't care.
I'm struggling with that
I can't care.
A very real way. It's something that maybe I would like to say that I would hope to change in 2024. But like I said in the shorty, I'm doing a real Jesus take the wheel situation with my whole life at this point. But I would like that to change for me, because I think as a result of the pandemic, and then also just some life stuff that I've had going on in my own life, like I have so much anxiety about leaving the house for any reason, really. And like trying to communicate with people, I get a lot of anxiety about if I have to meet, especially if it's like, if I got to meet somebody one-on-one, I'm always like, what are we going to talk about? Is it going to be awkward? Are there going to be lulls in conversation? Am I going to sound stupid? Like, and these are things that I think have always existed on some level, because I think they're very human impulses, but not ever to this degree. And I think it is something that is more common than we're really talking about as a result of lockdown.
Yeah. But I think that myself personally, having disassociated myself with so much social media and kind of having an apathy toward that fakeness of it, is maybe like, I kind of almost feel as like the first step to kind of pushing out and going out. Because I think you're absolutely right. I've also had that same anxiety about like leaving my house, you know? And, you know, just kind of like, well,
because social media doesn't feel good either. So then you're just in a state where you're just like, okay, nothing feels right. And like, what do you do whenever that's the case? Because it's like interaction. This is the interaction in the real world is causing me anxiety. Interaction online is causing me anxiety.
You know?
Yeah.
But like I said, disconnecting from it. Like, for example, I texted you yesterday, Keegan. I was like, do you want to go to Iliad, which is like a bookstore here in LA. That's really cool. And it was cool because I actually was like, I think, well, first of all, I've been trapped in my house. I have that strong don't tell me what to do situation where, oh, you're sick, you can't leave. So I went out
you've
yesterday.
never wanted to leave so badly in I your whole life as when you're not allowed to. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was actually, I went out, I actually talked to strangers at the bookstore. It was, I was like, oh, I forgot. This is nice. This is plenty. This hour that I left the house. This is plenty, but that's it, right? It's small doses. And I think too, kind of reminding myself that, shutting that social media door down for a bit and just kind of being like, that's not reality. That's not real. And what is real is like those little small interactions I had, just being like, oh, hey, oh, you like, oh, I love Dickens too. Whatever.
Yeah.
With a random stranger being like, oh, what's your favorite Dickens book? Could they have more Nicholas Nickleby here? Is that clearly not a popular book, right? Mm-hmm. And those just stupid little small interactions are like, oh, that kind of allowing me to have a little humanity seep back in. Like I said, an hour was plenty. Did I come home and lay down on my bed like I was exhausted? Yeah.
Yeah. but it is a muscle. And that's what I mean is just like all of that is a muscle that needs to be built back up. And I think we've been neglecting that as a culture, just in general. Like we've been neglecting human connection in real life, like IRL human connection for too long. And I think it's going to take like a concentrated effort to try and get that back,
Yeah.
All that to say, good luck out there dating.
This is so true.
If you know the answers, well, I mean, I've read a lot of articles purporting to saying the same things that you guys were saying. Nobody has any answers so far. So, fingers crossed. Like you said, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yep.
We're here for you. We'll get through this together.
Hand it over to the universe, and just
exactly
hope it all turns out okay. That's all you can do sometimes.
Yeah,
I think I saw a TikTok that said that their 2024 motto was going to be, the fuck that got to do with me.
No, isn't that the truth?
Not a bad motto. The fuck that got to do with me? I'm like,
not a goddamn thing.
No, just let it go.
I'm gonna write that down on a post-it.
Feel that, right?
Calligraphy it.
Cross
stitch it. Yes. Cross stitch that in a pillow.
Yeah.
Good reminder.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with the Tainted Love?
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Cool.
And we're back.
All right.
That was very, very high note for what I know is going to be a very sad story.
Yes. So I want to preface this Tainted Love with a very serious, very strong trigger warning for domestic violence and also drug use, if that's something that triggers you. One of the things that I stumbled upon when I was, just searching through all the different streaming channels was this documentary called The Fire That Took Her on Paramount Plus. And I have to say it is one of the most disturbing things I've ever watched in my life. So I'm going to tell the story here because I think it's very, very important. And then you can decide if you want to watch. But I personally really hate that I've seen it. And I will never, ever forget it or be able to unsee it. And it was very powerful to me. So I'll just dive into the story because I think that there are important things that we can talk about and take away from. And so, yeah, I'll just dive in. At a busy Speedway gas station in Gahanna, Ohio on August 2nd.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 2015. Bystanders were horrified to witness a man pour gasoline on a woman and set her on fire. The couple was seen arguing before the woman went to sit in the grass behind the station. Moments later, the man approaches her with a lighter as she tried to get away. A panicked 911 caller alerted authorities, who came quickly, and another bystander helped with a fire extinguisher. The woman, Judy Malinowski, was barely alive.
Holy shit.
Police immediately followed to the hospital to interview the man, Michael Slager, who witnesses identified as the perpetrator. He claims that they had just filled up, and Judy, his girlfriend, must have gotten gas on her. When she asked for a cigarette and he went to light it, she caught on fire. However, police
there were witnesses. Yeah, sir.
You dumbass. There was like tons of people who saw it. So, for one, her clothing was so badly burned, and it was mostly concentrated on her back. And the flames were so brutal that there had to be more than just a small spill of gas. Also, the whole incident had been witnessed by people who saw him pour gasoline on her, then come back with a lighter. Finally, the whole incident was captured on video camera because they were right by an ATM.
Oh.
So Michael changed his story then, and this is the reason why I say be very fucking careful if you are to watch the documentary, because you will see it happen, and it's extremely upsetting. Michael changed his story then and said they had argued and she poured pop on him, so he retaliated with gasoline.
That's not equal to retaliation. That's not. What the fuck, dude?
Then he says she asked for a cigarette and he thought that she had taken off the shirt with the gas and didn't think twice about going to her with a lighter. And police were also skeptical of that. It's like, okay, so you're going to be in an argument that's so heated that you pour fucking gasoline on her, and then 30 seconds later,
hey, can I have a cigarette?
She asked for a Yeah, exactly.
We've all been in arguments before.
Work.
We know that that's not how that works.
Right. So meanwhile, Judy was not expected to survive. One of the nurses interviewed says there is an equation for mortality, which is based on the patient's age and percent burn. Judy was 31 with horrific burns over 80% of her body, putting her at 110% mortality. And she lay in a coma for months as prosecutors built up a case. So Judy Malinowski was born in 1982 in Columbus, Ohio, eldest daughter to a well-off family residing in New Albany. She was a popular homecoming queen and attended Ohio State, married young, and had 2 daughters. However, things went bad in 2006 when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
Ugh.
She had to have a hysterectomy, and after the surgery was prescribed opioid painkillers.
Yep. So devastating. I hate this.
I know. Like so many other Americans, she became addicted to the prescription. And they interview her mom on there. Her mom's like, one of the biggest guilty things that she feels in her life is she's like, no, the doctor's prescribed it to you. Just take it as prescribed. You'll be okay. And of course, like,
well, why wouldn't you feel that way? We were all brought up to trust doctors, to believe what they say. They know more than you. You didn't go to medical school, you know. And as we know now, of course, like the pharmaceutical industry, and in particular, the people who are manufacturing opioids really downplayed
the Sacklers.
Yeah, the Sacklers. They very much downplayed the addictive properties of these drugs. Yeah. Like we just didn't. We had no way of knowing. Of course, you would say take it as prescribed.
Right.
Yeah.
I would have been that mom too. I mean, if hindsight, of course, knowing, but like, just
how would we know?
So when the insurance ran out, she had to turn to other ways to treat her addiction, and she became addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
The addiction destroyed her marriage, and her family actually stepped in with a lot of love and support to help with her daughters. She went to rehab in 2015 and was sober and committed to rebuilding her life. And then by chance, she connected on Facebook with an acquaintance of her ex-husband, Michael Slager. The two went out, and it was quickly apparent this guy was a terrible influence. They were like inseparable after the first time that they went out. But it's because Michael, who is not a user, provided drugs to Judy.
Yeah, because he wants to control her. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, totally. It's such a red flag. He's not a user, so that it's specifically designed to control her. And the two had a tumultuous relationship that soon became abusive. Michael was possessive, often trying to turn Judy's mother, like, because he's the sober one. So Judy's the one that's like relapsing. And Judy's like, oh, look at, Judy's on drugs again. She can't be trusted. She's like, he's trying to turn her family away from her. It's just like really fucking manipulative. Her mother soon noticed that she had bruises on her, though, and that Judy had relapsed. So she tried to get involved. And Michael once choked Judy to the point that she was in fear for her life. And she called 911 numerous times, over a dozen calls, but no charges were ever filed. Her mother believes that because of her past drug use, none of her complaints were taken seriously, that she's not the quote unquote perfect victim. So I thought that was important because I don't know what needs to change where even everyone is a human being. So even if someone's had drug use in the past, like I don't understand why their complaints aren't taken seriously, because I feel like this is just such a common theme in domestic violence, and it's really upsetting to me. Although their relationship lasted only a few months, it was so dramatic and disturbing. Judy would share with her friends and family that she was afraid Michael would kill her if she left.
For it to escalate that fast, I know we've talked about that before too, where like the escalation for domestic violence is usually fairly slow. But for this to have escalated this quickly in a matter of months is very, very scary.
Yeah, months. So finally, in August 2015, Judy had been accepted into a drug rehabilitation program, and Michael offered to drive her, but they would never make it there. Okay, interjecting here, I want to reiterate that I think anybody dating should absolutely Google or use one of those sites to look up something. So I am definitely not, I do not want to victim blame at all, but I do think that that is something that I felt was very useful. It is something I've told my mom to do, and it has saved her some trouble. Google somebody before you go out with them. Because if you do Google, Michael Slager has a extensive criminal history of menacing, making false police reports, domestic violence, assault, rape, petty theft, endangering children, sexual battery, disorderly conduct, stalking, resisting arrest, failure to register as a sex offender, and obstructing official business. And yet when police were called, they believed fucking him over Judy.
Can we have a conversation about how wacky our justice system is? Where it's like we have people serving life sentences for like marijuana possession, but you can have a laundry list of violent offenses, just one right after the other, right after the other, right after the other, and like still be able to be out in the world dating people. Like that's just what is going
so
on.
Fucked.
It just feels like it just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And now prosecutors admit they were intentionally stalling as they wanted to pursue the death penalty against him for murder. However, Judy woke up.
Shit.
Despite having severe burns over 80% of her body, she was taken out of sedation to confirm to police that Michael had purposely set her on fire.
So she's in extreme pain.
Yeah.
I can't imagine 80% of your body is burned.
Just
like if I accidentally tap my arm taking the pizza out of the oven, it is all you're hearing about for the rest of the night. Is like how much my hand hurts because I accidentally burned it. I can't imagine being taken out of like sedation when your whole body is suffering 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah, it's...
So
prosecutors had to try Michael for the lesser charge of felonious assault and aggravated arson. Judy underwent 50 surgeries and resuscitated 7 times, but was determined that she wanted to testify against him in trial.
Wow.
Michael and
the fortitude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, that's what... I'm sorry. I am not that strong. I know that in me. I'd be like, let me go. Let karma sort it out, but I'm not this strong. And this is the other reason why I want to have people know exactly what she's done. So Michael and his defense realized that if she was to testify, the jury would fucking hate his guts.
Yeah.
And
as they should.
Yeah. So it would also be able to be used in a future murder trial should Judy pass. So he changed his plea to no contest. So not admitting guilt, but he's just not contesting, where he got the maximum sentence of 11 years.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
For setting a human being on fire.
Yeah. Judy and her family were understandably upset. She said that she feels like she got a life sentence and that his punishment was not severe enough.
Well, and again,
not even close.
I don't understand. This is a person with a rap sheet as long as your fucking arm. So he does, it's escalated clearly. Escalated until he's done something this heinous. 11 years, you think he's gonna get out and just be like, oh, well, I'm rehabilitated now?
No, he's a danger to society.
Also, I feel like it's attempted murder. So you fucking failed at it. But that, I mean, if you would succeed,
take away
the action. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get why. I'm like, you should get life. You tried to kill somebody. You basically like have at this point. You really, it's so Judy's fucking pissed. So her and her family fight for legislation that would increase the maximum sentence for felonious assault in which the victim experiences disfigurement or serious injury to 20 years.
Yeah.
She also met with law enforcement and became determined to do something that had never been done before. She was determined to testify in her own murder trial. Judy's condition was deteriorating as she was still in the hospital 18 months after the attack.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Almost a full year.
18.
She didn't have...
Over a full year.
Months?
I'm so sorry. I can't math.
Yeah.
Yes, over a full year.
Holy shit.
Almost 2 years.
Her bill.
Yeah. Also, her history of drug use meant they had her on a high dose of pain medications due to her severe burns. Judy would endure weeks of agony as she weaned off the medication in order to be found, quote unquote, of sound mind for her deposition. Michael
So she had to
Slager,
be weaned off of pain medication when she is still being hospitalized for severe burns.
we're talking, these burns are such, like, people are like, I've never seen this on a person that is still alive. She's missing all her hair, her ears, her fingers. Like, it's fucking like, and so she was like, no, I'm going to fucking do this. Weans off of all pain medication, which
Jesus
is
Christ.
Jesus. So Michael Slager responds to her wanting to do this deposition by asking to be in the room with her.
Why is that allowed? Why is that allowed?
Thankfully was denied. So
why is that even something you're allowed to request?
It shouldn't be. It should be shut up. Like, we're so done with you. But he's fighting it. He's still pleading not guilty. So Judy would go on to give a videotaped deposition explaining what happened on that day. It's so gut-wrenching and powerful. Her voice just like recounting. She's strong in it too, because she gets cross-examined by the defense, and they basically lay into her and put her on trial for her drug use, and she takes it. She responds in kind. She's just so sober and intelligent and strong. It gives you goosebumps to watch.
This is one of those things where I'm like, everyone has a right to a defense. Everyone has a right to knowledgeable, adequate defense. Like, I think that is so important, because we know what our justice system is like, and people are falsely accused all the time. Everyone has a right to a good defense. As a human being, I don't know how I could look at someone like that on the stand and question them, cross-examine them like that. Like, I don't think, how could you, like, how could you work that case?
Yeah. So she's obviously, they're doing the whole thing videotaped from the hospital, but she held her own. She didn't apologize, clearly repeated what everyone knew, which is that Michael Slager killed her. And on June 27th, 2017, Judy succumbed to her injuries after almost 2 years fighting for her life in the hospital.
Holy shit.
Michael was charged with first-degree murder, to which he would plead not guilty. The state of Ohio came back and went for the death penalty. His defense asked to throw out the deposition, but because she had been cross-examined by the defense, it was allowed in. And this would be the very first time in our nation's history that someone would testify at their own murder trial.
Posthumously. Wow.
His defense, wanted to throw it out, but since they wouldn't, his lawyers are like, dude, like, this is not going to end well. And he tried to cut a deal to plead no contest again. Ohio refused and said, we're absolutely not doing a deal where you don't accept fucking responsibility for what you've done. And so he finally did plead guilty. He was given life, no parole. And Judy's testimony was played to the court during sentencing, ensuring that her voice was heard.
I just don't know, like, I don't understand how someone is that evil. Like, I really just don't understand. Like, I can't, like, I can't be unkind to somebody without, like, going home and feeling terrible about it and, like, needing to apologize for it. I can't imagine living a life where you are just harming others constantly and taking no responsibility for it and feeling nothing. Like, you're just wired so wrong.
Yeah. It's so sick to me. I can't describe how is this person the same species as me?
It's
because
scary.
It seems so unfathomable.
It's truly scary to me. It's truly scary to me because it is so counter to the way that I feel like I'm wired. That I don't understand how anyone could operate like that without just feeling miserable. Just miserable amounts of guilt.
Keegan, this happened in like a few months. It happened so fast. And I think, there's lots of reasons why I wanted to tell this story. First of all, because I think people should hear how fucking brave this woman was. I'd like to let people know how the system will let them down and hopefully find ways that, like, you can circumnavigate it, or maybe, like, if you could spot the red flags or something. But yes, silver lining, in September of 2017, Judy's Law was signed in Ohio. So it did raise the maximum or the minimum sentencing for felonious assault. And her family is still fighting to have it adopted federally through Judy's Foundation. And again, I really want to reiterate, if you or someone that you know are experiencing domestic violence, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233, or go to thehotline.org.
And we can put those in our show notes as well and on our website if you need those resources quickly and immediately available to you.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's just, I can't imagine what she had to fight through for 2 years in order to do that. And, you know, luckily this person is locked away for the rest of their life with no opportunity to be out. But yeah. Whew.
I think you said something important too, which is like, you know, the treatment that she received because she was on drugs. And it's just, I mean, this isn't less of a human because our system got them addicted to something that they have no control over.
Well, and even if they'd made a series of choices that led them to a place in their life, it doesn't mean that their life has less value just because of that. You know, I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life that could have gone any number of ways. And in a lot of ways, I'm just very lucky that it didn't go this way, that way, or the other. It wouldn't make me less valuable as a person.
Right. Exactly right.
No matter which way it went, you know. So there's something deeply broken in our society, I think, in general, in the way that we deal with people and feel about people. There's a real lack of empathy and compassion. I see it a lot, you know, when we were talking about like being online, you see that all the time too, where, you know, I looked at comments under something talking about Matthew Perry's death, and you will find people there who feel like they don't need to be compassionate or empathetic or sorry or sad because he struggled with addiction issues. And so they think that it's his fault that this happened. You know, like it's just our lack of kindness is really sad to me.
Yeah.
Like you said, empathy and compassion, it's completely out the window.
Yeah. Let's just be nicer in 2024.
I can say that.
All right. Resolve to do that?
I can resolve
exactly
to do that. Yeah.
Let's be
I
nicer.
can be on board on that for sure.
Definitely.
I think I'm gonna have the hardest time with that. Oh, just kidding. I'm nice. I'm New York nice.
You are kind.
That's right.
That is what you are.
You're not nice.
Yes, you're kind.
That's right. You're kind. You're not nice.
Oh God. Well, what are we watching this week? I know we were talking about spicy stuff at the top, but got anything good?
Well, other than watching all of the Nightmare on Elm Street's Friday the 13th, which I will continue to watch. I'll watch all the ones that are on Max, which I think are all the way through like Jason Takes Manhattan. So that's
holy shit.
So I'm gonna watch all of those. But outside of that, I did watch and talk about another bummer, another kind of look at the system failing. I have BritBox, and I watched The Barking Murders, which I think is also, I think it's called The Barking Murders in the US. I think it's called 4 Lives if you're in the UK. But it's a 3-part series. And I think that My Favorite Murder might have covered these murders at some point. So if they sound familiar, would be a good Tainted Love to do.
What was it called again?
The Barking Murders.
Here yes,
in the US.
Yeah.
It's Stephen Merchant, who, if you know Stephen Merchant, like tall, lanky actor, he plays Stephen Port, who was a serial killer in Barking, who he was a gay man who murdered gay men, and it was so blatantly obvious that they had a serial killer because all of these men were dying in the same way, in the same area, all gay men. But police refused to link the murders, which of course allowed more people to get killed.
Is this the one where he gets caught because he was trying to stuff them down like a...
No, that's Nilsson.
Yeah, that's Dennis Nilsson. Yeah, this is a different guy. And this is, again, it's not a documentary. It is a dramatized show, 3-part series. But they do a good job, but it will make you feel rage. It makes you feel so much rage for these families who are saying like, you know, that doesn't sound like my loved one. I don't think this feels like you need to look into this. This other person's now gotten murdered in the same way, and or has now died in the same way in the same place.
Right.
I think these are connected, and just watching them get shut down over and over again and again.
How many?
So frustrating.
We don't value certain lives. Like there are just certain lives that we value less. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you look at. I mean, there's so many examples. I mean, the story I just told, that one, you know, when it happens to gay people, the missing Indigenous women in Canada, Atlanta child, like
Killer,
that one. It's always this like this idea of like the perfect victim, and if you don't fit into that very, very narrow box, it's frustrating. It's not right.
Right. Yep.
Oof. Well,
what about you, Cass?
I watched all of Band of Brothers in one evening when I stayed up till 5:30 in the morning.
Holy shit!
I've seen it before, and I'm like, I was just like, oh, I've been watching I was watching Antiques Roadshow, the British version. And they talk a lot about World War II and like some of the memorabilia they get from that time. And I was like, oh man, I kind of want to watch Band of Brothers again. God, that movie is so fucking good.
Or a show, right?
That show.
Yeah.
Is so fucking good. I forgot. And I was like, gosh, 2001. I was like, is this going to be good? It's holds up. Of course it does. Cause it's the subject matter is so, you know,
it's World War II, right?
Obviously. Yeah. World War II.
You did just say that.
Easy Company.
Jesus.
I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Anyway, it's Easy Company and, you know, their kind of journey. It's if you haven't watched it, you have to fucking watch it. If you've watched it before and it's been a while, I highly recommend a rewatch. It's just as incredible. You know, obviously their true story through what they went through. Oh, it's intense, but it's really good.
Nice. So Eric and I's evening entertainment have been all of the John Wicks.
Great.
So that's our mindless entertainment this week. I have to say, we were talking during the first one. I was like, I know why this movie is so successful, because I was like, there's no girl or guy watching that is going to be like, oh, you're going too far. I'm like, they killed the
cutest dog you've ever fucking seen. And like, his wife died and sent him this dog to help him deal with his grief and heal. You mess with the wrong man. You mess with the wrong man, Theon Greyjoy. You fucked up.
That anger has taken me through all 4 movies where I'm still angry about it. I'm like, yeah, no, I think there's more people you got to take care of. I don't feel like we're even yet.
Not quite. We're not quite. Haven't quite made it. Yeah.
No.
Oof. Speaking of puppies.
Oh yeah,
Christina.
Another one.
Another one.
Yes.
But you guys, are you fostering?
Yes. We are fostering because he was dropped off at the shelter. So first of all, I went to go take care of errands, and I let Eric be alone for the day. And I get that phone call, the one that you recognize immediately from the tone of the voice. Is like, what do you want? What have you done? What's going on?
What have you done?
He's like, I'm at the animal shelter.
Why? Why are you at the animal
Why
shelter?
are you at the animal shelter? That's the question. It's like, you don't go there. You have to know thyself. Okay. I don't go to the animal shelter unless I'm trying to get in trouble, because that's how I got my second cat. Is like, you're like, we're just going to go look around. No, you're not. No,
you're not.
You're not.
You're going to come home with another animal. That's what you're going to do.
So we have a 50-pound, 6-month-old Great Dane pit bull mix named Leroy.
It's gonna be a big
Leroy.
Big boy. That's a big boy.
He is getting along great with the pack so far, and we had to take him in and get him taken care of. He's already had shots and everything, but we're gonna take care of him. And when I say foster, I'm like, this is our new dog.
Yeah, please.
I've
never met 2 people who are more likely to foster fail than you and Eric. Never in my life.
100%.
Like you guys are going
100%.
into it like we're fostering. Like that is the vibe.
Right, exactly.
Right? Because the way, no, you're not.
The way though that I was like, does this dog end up at the Lorenzo's?
Could
I had this immediate thought.
Our friends, the Lorenzos, yeah, their dog Monsters is getting up there. So
another little black puppy.
Yeah, he's a cutie. He's captured my heart already. Just a couple days in, so yeah. I think for me, my retirement dream is to be able to go into the shelters and get all of the senior dogs out and like.
You
just
could
be
do
a
it
home
too
for senior dogs.
See, that's your kindness coming through there because like you could handle that. I truly believe of the three of us, I think Christina, you are the most capable of like taking senior dogs and giving them what they need throughout the end of their life and handling it with grace. Because I think Cassie and I would just
it would fall apart
irrevocably
every single
damaged. Time. Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Yes. We wouldn't recover, I don't think.
Nope.
Yeah.
Jesus. I tell you, I'm taking my dog with me to Germany, even if it's just for the short term or the long term. I'm like, I can't be without my fucking dog. My dog can't be without me. Yeah. I leave the house for like an hour or two and she's like, Chris is like, she was so fucking annoying the whole time you were gone. I'm like, of course she was. She just loves her mom there so much. So, yeah, it's a little codependent.
That's all right. That's all right. But the world needs people like you, Christina. The world needs more people who are able to handle that. Like, I think that's such a noble thing that I wish I was able to do. I really do. I really wanted to volunteer at a humane society. That was like a dream of mine, but I just know, like, again, know thyself. Like, I know that I will be so emotionally destroyed either I'm going to be so emotionally destroyed every time they have to put an animal down, or I'm going to have 8,000 cats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, I can't let it happen. Got to take this kitten home.
I would 100% have to work for a no-kill shelter.
Yes.
And I think I could. And I think that I love the idea of helping like a dog who seems hopeless. I actually like the idea. I don't want to keep them though. And so I think that for me, because I don't want to get that level of attachment where they're with me all the time, I would love to be able to like break down a dog who's like just scared. That was Rose. Like, honestly, I really feel like if we hadn't taken Rose, she would not have been adoptable. Like, I just do. I just think that at some point they would have been like, there's no way. But
Cassie, you're a dodo video. You're like one of those, like, the dodo where it's just like, there's that emotional music playing under the background. The dog's like shaking, got its tail under its legs. And by the end, it's just like smiling and running around. Yeah.
Yep. That's 100%. That's totally Rose and I. But I love that idea though, like, of doing that with like a dog who's maybe like a little scared, a little timid, and like bringing them out of their shell, and not bringing it home every time, but like having it like open up to other people. And like, I just feel like there's so many dogs that just get overlooked. And also, like you said, with senior dogs are kind of your thing, Christina. I think for me, it's like that emotionally damaged animal, that fearful animal that's scared. That I'm like, no, you can trust again. It's okay. Like, let's coax you out of this fear, No,
nothing makes my blood boil more than like somebody that takes a 10 or 11-year-old dog to the shelter. And I'm just like, Well,
and they always say, because you always see in comments whenever like TikTok videos where they're talking about that, you always see in comments people who work at shelters who say that the majority of the time when people do that, when it's not for a legitimate reason, like someone's going into hospice or something like that, you always see like people who just don't want to deal with end of life care for their dogs, that they will then try to adopt and try to leave with another dog. And that's why so many shelters have policies where they're like, if you surrender an animal here, you are never allowed to adopt an animal here.
Good.
I mean, short of like you found an animal that you are then like taking, but like if it is your animal, you are never allowed to then adopt because what the fuck?
I think you should be on a list. I think you should be on a fucking list of never adoptable, unable. And I think it should be shelter wide. Like you can't shelter hop. Like I don't want to see you at
in the whole
like
state.
we do like an FBI database or something like that.
Yeah.
That's right. You're on a watch
state,
list
you're not
now,
allowed to
motherfucker.
adopt any shelters in Colorado now, bitch. No.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I know what I'm going to be
Fucked
fighting
around.
for.
I love this.
All right. Well, hey, if you guys have animal stories, if you have really bad date stories, if you want to just reach out and say hello, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.